There are moments in life when the crowd disappears, when the friends you thought would walk forever by your side stop, and suddenly it's just you alone. But listen carefully, because in that very silence, in that very solitude, lies the birthplace of your greatest strength. There comes a moment in life where the noise of the world fades. The voices, the opinions, the endless chatter, it all disappears. And suddenly it's just you. You and your thoughts, you and your choices, you and the path in front of you. That moment is not a weakness. That moment is not emptiness. That moment is the birthplace of power. It is in solitude that you find strength. Most people run from being alone. They fear it like a disease. They think, if I'm alone, something must be wrong with me. If I'm alone, maybe I'm unloved, maybe I'm unworthy. But the truth is, solitude is not punishment. It's a gift. It's not rejection. It's redirection. It's not loneliness. It's clarity. When you embrace solitude, you unlock a power that no crowd, no group, no cheering audience can ever give you. Because only in solitude can you meet yourself. Think about this. Every great breakthrough, every incredible invention, every world-changing idea did not come from someone drowning in noise. It came from someone who was willing to be alone with their thoughts. It came from someone who dared to sit in silence, to listen inward, to discover what was truly inside of them. The world is loud. It will try to drown your voice out with opinions, with gossip, with expectations. But when you choose solitude, you strip all of that away. You hear your own heartbeat again. You feel your own rhythm again. And in that stillness, you gain clarity. Clarity is everything. Without clarity, you wander aimlessly. You chase goals that aren't yours. You pursue dreams that belong to someone else. Without clarity, you build a life that looks successful on the outside but feels empty on the inside. But when you walk alone, when you shut out the noise, you start asking the real questions. Who am I? What do I truly want? What do I value? What kind of life am I here to create? And when you find those answers, you become unstoppable. Walking alone builds a resilience that no one can take away from you. Because when you're alone, there's no one to hold your hand. There's no one to drag you forward. There's no one to carry the weight for you. And at first, it feels terrifying. At first, it feels heavy. But then something shifts. You realize you can do it. You realize that the strength you've been waiting for is not out there. It's been in you the entire time. And suddenly, solitude transforms into strength. Silence transforms into power. You begin to see yourself not as someone abandoned, but as someone chosen for greatness. Let me tell you something. Solitude is not about being isolated forever. It's not about cutting yourself off from the world. It's about stepping into a sacred space where you can grow. Think about the seed that becomes a tree. Before it grows strong, before it rises above the soil, it has to be buried, alone, in the dark, surrounded by silence. And it's in that solitude, hidden from the world, that it begins to develop roots strong enough to sustain it. The same is true for you. Without solitude, you never grow your roots. Without solitude, you never discover the depth of your strength. This is why so many people fail to find their purpose. They never allow themselves to be still. They're constantly distracted, constantly seeking validation, constantly surrounded by noise, and in that noise they lose themselves. And they forget who they are, they forget what they want, they forget what they were made for. But the moment you choose solitude, the moment you choose to walk alone, you reclaim your power. You stop being a slave to the crowd and you start being the master of your destiny. Walking alone is not a weakness, it is strength in its purest form. Because when you walk alone, you're not leaning on anyone else. You're not borrowing their belief. You're not depending on their encouragement. You're not surviving on their support. You're building your own. And the strength you build in solitude becomes unshakable. Because if you can walk alone, you can walk anywhere. If you can keep moving when nobody is watching, you'll be unstoppable when the world is. So let me ask you, when was the last time you embraced solitude? When was the last time you turned off the phone, shut the door, silenced the world, and sat with yourself? When was the last time you listened to your own voice instead of the opinions of others? Most people are terrified to do that. But the ones who dare, the ones who walk alone, those are the people who discover who they really are. Those are the people who find strength that nobody else can take away. You see, solitude is not about being cut off, it's about being tuned in. Tuning into your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams, your power. It's in solitude that you learn to trust yourself. And once you trust yourself, you stop begging others for approval. You stop chasing their acceptance. You stop living small just to fit in. Solitude teaches you that you are enough, that your vision is enough, that your voice is enough. And once you grasp that, you become dangerous. Dangerous to fear, dangerous to doubt, dangerous to mediocrity. Because you no longer depend on anything outside of you to keep moving forward. Every hero's journey begins in solitude. Think of it, every story, every legend, every breakthrough started with someone who was willing to walk alone. Alone in their vision, alone in their discipline, alone in their belief. And while the world doubted them, while the crowd laughed at them, while friends and family walked away, they kept walking. Alone. And that solitude, that quiet resilience became their power. And one day, the same people who doubted them followed them. But it never would have happened if they hadn't had the courage to start alone. So when life strips the crowd away from you, when the applause goes silent, when the friends disappear and it's just you, don't panic. Don't run from it. Don't think it means you're lost. No, it means you've been chosen. Chosen to discover the kind of power that can only be built in solitude. Chosen to develop clarity that only silence can bring. Chosen to build a strength that only walking alone can teach you. Because the power of solitude is the foundation, there's a trap that millions of people fall into every single day. A trap that robs them of their potential, their freedom, and their power. And that trap is living for approval, living for applause, living for someone else's validation. Too many people stop walking their path because the crowd isn't clapping yet. Too many people silence their own voice because they're afraid it won't be liked, it won't be accepted, it won't be celebrated. But listen closely, if you live by approval, you will die by rejection. If you depend on validation, you will always be a prisoner. The true strength of walking alone isn't just solitude, it's independence. It's the ability to keep moving forward without waiting for anyone else to cheer you on. Think about it. How many times have you wanted to take a risk, chase a dream, or make a bold move, but you stopped? Not because it was impossible, not because you didn't have the ability, but because you were worried about what other people might think. You were worried they might laugh. You were worried they might doubt you. You were worried they might say, "Who do you think you are?" And so you held back. You silenced yourself. You played small, not because you weren't capable, but because you were addicted to approval. This addiction is deadly. It keeps people stuck in jobs they hate, relationships that suffocate them, lives that feel meaningless, because they don't want to disappoint anyone. They don't want to stand out. They don't want to lose acceptance. But here's the reality, no matter what you do, somebody will always disapprove. No matter how good you are, somebody will criticize. No matter how safe you play, someone will judge. And if you live for their opinions, you will never truly live. Independence means this: you stop waiting for permission. You stop begging for validation. You stop needing applause before you take action. You walk your path because it's yours, not because anyone approves of it. I want you to imagine something. Imagine a runner on the track. They train for months, for years. They run every single morning, every single night. And when the day of the race comes, the stadium is silent, no cheering, no clapping, no music, just silence. Would they stop running? Would they walk off the track? No, because the race was never about the crowd. It was about the finish line. Your life is the same. The finish line is your purpose, your vision, your dream, and the crowd, they're just noise. If they clap, fine. If they don't, fine. Because the finish line doesn't move. Your dream doesn't disappear just because they don't approve. So let me ask you right now, how much of your life is being controlled by the opinions of people who don't even live your life? How many decisions have you made not because they were right for you, but because you thought they would keep everyone else happy? How much of your potential is locked away because you're waiting for someone to pat you on the back and say, "Go ahead, you're allowed"? You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. You don't need their applause. What you need is courage. Courage to stand on your own. Courage to walk when nobody else believes. Courage to say, "This is my life and I will live it on my terms." Independence isn't arrogance. Independence isn't selfishness. It's freedom. It's the ability to act from your values, not from their expectations. It's the strength to say no when everyone else says yes. It's the boldness to say yes when everyone else says no. Independence is choosing your path and owning it fully, without apologizing, without explaining, without begging for approval. And the moment you taste that independence, your life changes forever, because you stop being controlled by their opinions. You stop being a puppet to their applause. You stop being a prisoner to their acceptance. You become unstoppable. Do you know why most people never reach greatness? It's not because they lack talent. It's not because they lack resources. It's because they lack independence. They're chained to what people might say. They're shackled by the fear of rejection. They're imprisoned by the need to fit in. And as long as you're trying to fit in, you'll never stand out. As long as you're chasing approval, you'll never find your authentic power. Independence is the key. It's the door. It's the bridge between who you are today and who you're meant to be. Some of you listening right now are suffocating under the weight of expectations. You're trying to be the perfect son, the perfect daughter, the perfect partner, the perfect friend. You're trying to make everyone else happy while you're silently miserable. And you've convinced yourself that if they're proud of you, if they approve of you, if they validate you, then you'll finally be happy. But here's the truth. If you sacrifice your own voice for theirs, you'll never feel alive, because their approval can never replace your authenticity. Their validation can never substitute for your truth. And no matter how much they clap, it will never fill the emptiness of a life that isn't yours. You were not born to live on someone else's leash. You were not born to dance for their applause. You were not born to fit neatly into their box. You were born to break the mold. You were born to rise above. You were born to express your unique voice, your unique vision, your unique gift. And that requires independence. That requires courage. That requires the willingness to walk alone without waiting for anyone to clap for you. Because if you can walk alone without approval one day, those same people who doubted you will be the ones asking how you did it. But by then, you won't even need their approval, because you'll already know you were always enough. This is what makes independence so powerful. It doesn't mean you don't love people. It doesn't mean you don't value connection. It doesn't mean you don't listen. It means you're not controlled. It means you don't need their acceptance to validate your existence. It means you no longer put your destiny in their hands. And once you take it back, once you reclaim that power, you begin to live on a whole different level. You walk with certainty. You speak with conviction. You act with boldness. Because you no longer wonder, what will they think? You only ask, what do I know is right? And that question will lead you to a life of true freedom. So stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop begging for the applause that may never come. Choose independence. Choose authenticity. Choose the strength to walk your path even if no one else believes in it yet. Because the moment you stop living for approval and start living from your own truth, you discover a power that cannot be shaken, a freedom that cannot be stolen, and a strength that cannot be denied. That is the power of independence over approval. Pain is a universal language. Every single human being on this planet understands it. It doesn't matter your culture, your background, your beliefs. Pain is the one thing we've all felt. The sting of betrayal, the emptiness of loss, the weight of failure, the loneliness of being misunderstood. And for most people, pain becomes a prison. It becomes the reason they stop trying, the reason they stop loving, the reason they stop dreaming. But for those who choose differently, pain is not a prison, it's a gym. It's the training ground of greatness. It's the very place where your strength is built. Think about it. Where does strength come from? Does it come from comfort? From ease? From everything going right? No, strength is forged in fire. It's developed when you're tested. It's built when life pushes you to the ground and you have to decide whether to stay down or get back up. Pain is life's way of stretching you, of forcing you to grow, and of pulling out the version of you that you didn't even know existed. And the truth is, without pain, you'd never reach your full potential. Without pain, you'd stay soft. Without pain, you'd stay the same. Pain is the catalyst that transforms who you are into who you're meant to be. Let me ask you, what was the moment in your life where you grew the most? Was it when everything was easy? Was it when everything went exactly according to plan? Or was it when everything fell apart, when your heart was broken, when you were left with nothing but your own will to keep going? For most of us, it's the struggles, the heartbreaks, the failures, the disappointments. That's where we grew the most. That's where we discovered resilience. That's where we found courage. That's where we realized we were stronger than we ever thought we were. That's the power of pain. It introduces you to yourself. You see, the problem is that most people run from pain. They numb it, avoid it, escape it. They try to silence it with distractions, with addictions, with business. But here's the truth. What you run from will keep chasing you. What you bury will keep resurfacing. What you ignore will keep growing. Pain doesn't disappear just because you pretend it isn't there. It transforms when you face it. It strengthens you when you embrace it. It turns into power when you learn from it. And if you have the courage to confront your pain instead of hiding from it, you will discover a strength inside you that no comfort could ever produce. Pain is resistance. Think about lifting weights. If you go into the gym and pick up something light, you won't grow. Your muscles don't develop in ease. They develop under tension, under struggle, under resistance. The pain you feel in that moment is not weakness. It's growth. It's the sign that your body is adapting, becoming stronger. Life works the same way. Every failure is a rep. Every heartbreak is a rep. Every disappointment is a rep. And each rep, as painful as it feels, is shaping you, molding you, strengthening you into someone who can carry more, do more, achieve more. Without resistance, there is no growth. Without pain, there is no strength. So many people pray for strength but run from the very thing that creates it. They say, I want to be strong, I want to be confident, I want to be unshakable, and then life gives them challenges. Life gives them pain. Life gives them resistance. And instead of seeing it as the answer, they see it as punishment. But listen, life is not punishing you. Life is preparing you. That pain you're feeling right now is not there to destroy you, it's there to develop you. It's the weight you have to lift if you want to grow. And the heavier the weight, the stronger you'll become. I know it hurts. I know it feels unbearable sometimes. The nights when you cry yourself to sleep, the mornings when you don't want to get out of bed, the days when it feels like the whole world has forgotten you. That pain is real, and I'm not here to minimize it. I'm here to tell you it has meaning. That heartbreak is teaching you resilience. That failure is teaching you persistence. That rejection is teaching you self-worth. That loss is teaching you gratitude. Every ounce of pain carries a lesson, and if you're willing to learn, that lesson becomes your strength. You've got to make a decision. Will this pain break me, or will it build me? Because the choice is always yours. And you can let it crush your spirit, or you can let it sharpen your character. You can let it make you bitter, or you can let it make you better. You can let it define you as a victim, or you can use it to define yourself as a warrior. Pain will change you no matter what. But how it changes you, that's up to you. Look back at the people you admire most. The leaders, the champions, the innovators, the legends. Do you think their path was painless? Absolutely not. They faced rejection. They faced loss. They faced heartbreak. They faced failure after failure. But what set them apart was this: they didn't waste their pain. They didn't run from it. They didn't numb it. They used it. They let it fuel their fire. They turned it into art, into innovation, into greatness. They turned it into strength. And you can do the same. You can take that pain, the betrayal, the loss, the rejection, the failure, and you can channel it into something powerful. You can use it as energy. You can use it as fire. You can use it as the reason you refuse to quit. You can let that pain remind you that you are alive, that you are capable, that you are stronger than you think. Because the truth is, pain is proof that you're still in the fight. Pain is proof that you haven't given up. Pain is proof that there's more inside you to give. So the next time pain shows up, don't run, don't numb it, don't hide from it. Step into it, embrace it, let it teach you, let it stretch you, let it build you. Because every tear, every scar, every wound carries wisdom. And if you have the courage to face it, that wisdom will become your strength. That strength will become your power. That power will become the foundation for the life you were meant to live. Because turning pain into strength is not just about survival. It's about transformation. It's about using the very thing that tried to break you as the tool that builds you. And when you understand that, when you embrace that, when you live that truth, you discover that pain was never your enemy. It was your greatest teacher, the one that prepared you for everything that's coming next. There's a truth most people don't want to face. If you want to walk ahead, if you want to lead, if you want to rise above the ordinary, you must first be willing to walk alone. Every person you see at the top, every leader, every innovator, every world changer at one point had no one walking beside them. They weren't celebrated, they weren't applauded, they weren't believed in, they were ridiculed, doubted, and questioned. And yet, they kept walking alone, and because they had the courage to walk alone then, they gained the strength to walk ahead later. Walking alone is the price of walking ahead. Think about how can you expect to lead others if you've never led yourself? How can you show the way if you've never dared to walk it first? Leadership is born in those silent moments when you're walking by yourself, when you're carving the path with no map, when you're daring to step into the unknown without anyone holding your hand. That is where true strength is forged. That is where leadership is born. And that's why most people never become leaders, because they're afraid to walk without the crowd. Most people are trapped in the herd. They follow the path that everyone else is walking because it feels safe, because it feels comfortable, because it gives them the illusion of security. But here's the reality. The herd never leads. The herd never creates. The herd never changes the world. If you stay with the herd, you stay average. If you stay with the herd, you stay hidden. If you stay with the herd, you'll never know what you're truly capable of. To walk ahead, you must be willing to step out of the crowd. To walk ahead, you must be willing to face the silence, the stares, the doubts, and still move forward. Walking alone is not easy. It will test every ounce of you. It will challenge your courage, your confidence, and your conviction. You'll hear voices telling you to stop, to turn back, to rejoin the crowd. You'll hear people laugh at you, criticize you, tell you that you're wasting your time, that you're crazy for believing in something bigger. And in those moments, it will be tempting to quit. It will be tempting to surrender, to go back where it's safe, to settle for less. But if you hold the line, if you keep walking, if you trust that the path you're on was meant for you, then one day, those same people who doubted you will be the ones following you. Walking alone is a statement. It says, I believe in myself enough to move forward even if nobody else believes in me. It says, I don't need your validation to keep pursuing my vision. It says, I am willing to do what others won't so I can live a life others can't. Walking alone requires courage, but it gives you power. It gives you authority. It gives you the ability to walk ahead of the very crowd that once doubted you. And make no mistake, people will always doubt you in the beginning. That's the cost of stepping into new territory. But when you endure that loneliness, when you keep moving despite the silence, you earn the right to lead. Ask yourself this: are you willing to walk alone if it means you'll walk ahead later? Are you willing to endure the silence today so you can carry the influence tomorrow? Are you willing to look foolish for a season so you can be respected for a lifetime? Because that's the trade-off. Everyone wants to walk ahead, but few are willing to walk alone. Everyone wants the spotlight, but few are willing to stand in the shadows. Everyone wants the reward, but few are willing to pay the price. Walking alone is the price, and only those who pay it ever rise to true greatness. Think of every pioneer in history. The first explorers, the first inventors, the first leaders who dared to challenge the system. They weren't surrounded by fans and followers. They weren't celebrated at first. They were mocked, doubted, ridiculed, sometimes even hated. But because they walked alone, they blazed a trail, and eventually the very path they carved became the one others followed. The same principle applies to your life. If you dare to walk alone now, one day others will look to you as the one who showed them the way. That's what it means to walk ahead. I know it's hard. I know walking alone feels heavy. There will be nights you wonder if it's worth it. There will be days when the silence feels suffocating. There will be moments when you feel like giving up. But those are the very moments that are shaping you into a leader. Those are the moments that are building your strength, your resilience, your vision. Those are the moments that teach you to depend on your own belief rather than the crowd's approval. And when you come through those moments, you won't just be stronger, you'll be ahead. Walking alone sharpens you. It forces you to rely on yourself. It forces you to trust your instincts. It forces you to dig deep and pull out courage you didn't know you had. And every step you take alone is a step of preparation for the future. Because one day, when others look to you for direction, you'll be ready. You'll be strong enough to carry the responsibility. You'll be confident enough to trust your vision. You'll be bold enough to lead with clarity. That preparation doesn't happen in the crowd. It happens in solitude. It happens when you're walking alone. The greatest leaders in life are not the ones who started with crowds behind them. They are the ones who started in silence, in doubt, in loneliness. And when they refused to stop walking, when they refused to quit, when they refused to give in to the voices of fear, they eventually found themselves walking ahead. And by then, the crowd was no longer their master, it was their responsibility. But they never would have reached that point if they hadn't first embraced the power of walking alone. So yes, walking alone is hard. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it tests you, but it is also the bridge to leadership, the path to influence, the doorway to greatness. It's the reason some people rise while others stay stuck. It's the reason some people create history while others only read about it. And the truth is, the willingness to walk alone is the very thing that ensures you'll walk ahead. So now you understand, walking alone is not weakness, it's strength. Independence from approval is not arrogance, it's freedom. Pain is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. And the courage to walk alone today is the very thing that will position you to walk ahead tomorrow. This is the path of growth. This is the path of transformation. This is the path of greatness. Most people will never walk it. They'll stay in the comfort of the crowd. They'll chase approval. They'll run from pain. They'll play it safe. And in doing so, they'll trade their destiny for mediocrity. But not you. Not anymore. Because you've seen the truth. You've heard the call. And now, you have everything inside you to rise. The question is not whether you can do it. The question is whether you will. Will you dare to walk alone? Will you dare to let go of their approval? Will you dare to turn your pain into fuel? Will you dare to step ahead even if nobody believes in you yet? Because the moment you say yes, the moment you commit to that path, your life will never be the same again. You were not born to be average. You were not born to blend in. You were not born to play small. You were born to lead, to rise, to create, to impact, to live with fire and passion and purpose. But that destiny will only be unlocked if you're willing to pay the price. And the price is this: walk alone when you must. Be strong when it hurts. Keep moving when it's silent. Believe in yourself when no one else does, because if you can do that, there will come a day when you no longer walk alone. You'll be walking ahead, and the very people who doubted you will be the ones following in your footsteps. So walk alone. Stand strong. Embrace the silence, embrace the pain, embrace the journey, because on the other side of that road lies your destiny. And when you arrive, you won't just be strong, you'll be unstoppable.